By now you have probably seen the headlines of BC's Residential Tenancy Branch allowing a couple of landlords to increase rent by over 23%. This of course has created a lot of concern from the tenants, but it also gave a little bit of hope to landlords. So let's actually talk about this decision and what it could mean for the future moving forward. To understand why this ruling is a big deal, first let's talk about how rent increases work in British Columbia. Before 2018, landlords could annually raise the rent by inflation plus 2%. For example, if inflation was 3%, then the rent could be raised by 5% every year. Then in 2018, following recommendations from Rental Housing Task Force, the rate has been changed to just inflation. So whatever the inflation is, that's how much you could increase the rental rates. In 2020 and 2021, due to COVID pandemic, the rental rate increases have been frozen for a couple of years to sort of help tenants deal with higher costs of living, losing job, etc., etc. Then in 2023, something interesting happened. The inflation was really high. It still is on the higher side, but back then it was even higher. And to protect tenants against an inflation level rental rate increases, they have kept rental rate increases to only 2%. That's well below the inflation rate of about 5.5% at a time. Now, understandably, if you're a landlord, especially if you bought a place recently, these rental rate increases are not very significant, especially since we had historically high interest rate increases. And if you are on a variable mortgage, all of a sudden your mortgage payments have gone up way higher than what you're collecting in rent. And a couple of landlords in BC took this matter to the Residential Tenancy Branch, and they actually won. According to the court documents, these landlords have purchased this property in 2021. It's a fourplex, and they're applying to the Residential Tenancy Branch to allow them to increase rental rates at a higher rate because they're underwater, they're bleeding money every month. Because they're on a variable mortgage, and according to court documents, they always got variable mortgage, so it wasn't just the first time they did it, because 5-6 years ago variable rates were pretty steady, and actually a lot of people got variable rates. According to court, the landlords didn't really do anything wrong. They took all the steps to sort of protect their investment, but due to unforeseen circumstances, they're underwater and they have to increase rent at a higher rate. But actually what they received as allowed rent increases are even better than what's being reported on. So according to the ruling in 2024, they're allowed to raise the rent at 3.5%. That's the standard annual increase that everyone is allowed to raise the rent at, plus an additional 12%. Then in year 2, 2025, they're allowed to raise the rent by additional 11.5% on top of whatever the government will announce as allowed rent increases. So not only are they allowed to increase the rent by 23.5% instead of that 3.5% plus whatever is allowed next year, it's 23.5% on top of what's already allowed. As you can imagine, this piqued interest of both tenants and landlords. On one hand, of course, you can understand the tenants. All of a sudden, the rent is going to increase almost 30% over the next couple of years. So they're unhappy, and a lot of tenants, not just the tenants in this fourplex, but tenants in general, are now a little bit more sensitive to this type of thing because they assumed that the allowed rental increases cap would be sort of sustained, but maybe it's not. Maybe more landlords will apply to be granted a higher rental rate increase, which of course also piqued the interest of a lot of landlords. A lot of landlords are underwater because of higher interest rates. So now having this as an option is going to be very interesting. I think quite a few landlords in BC and in Canada are going to test the system. They're going to try to apply for the Residential Tenancy Board, going to try to prove that due to unforeseen circumstances, i.e. higher interest rates, their payments are much higher, they're underwater, and they need to be granted a higher rate increases. It will be interesting to see how all of that plays out in the future. I'll try to keep you updated on this YouTube channel. Subscribe if you don't want to miss those videos when they do come out. Also give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you're looking to buy or sell real estate in Greater Vancouver, or you just need some real estate advice, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text message, or shoot me an email. I'd be happy to help you. Also, if you're just starting to look for real estate and you don't really know where to start, I do have a free buyer's guide. The link to that will be in the description below. It's absolutely free. You don't need to sign up for anything, just a tool to help you. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.